Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how you can make a project in Trados. So when you start Trados, it may show you the welcome screen, or it may have the projects view, or the files, reports, editor, or translation memory. If you start Trados with absolutely no projects, you will also only see 4 views. But to make a project, we come to the projects area. And you come up here and click on New Project. Notice it's possible to make a local project and a cloud project. We're going to make a local project, so you can either just click on the icon here or click here. Now, since Trados 2019, Trados has adopted the idea of a metaphor of a metro or an underground. So we have all these different stations. We also have an attempt just to do everything in one step. So I can click here one step, I can click here to the next step, and it won't let me go until I've done these things on the screen. So user settings, the first thing is called the default, and we just leave it because we haven't made any project templates yet. The next thing is the source and target language. In this case, we're going to use English United Kingdom, and we're going to remove the Germany, and there's a little arrow here where we can select the language we're going to use. In this case, Portugal is at the top, but if it wasn't, we could click here and go down the list to find it. And the first time you use Trados, there'll be nothing at the top. Okay, so now we've got English United Kingdom, Portugal. We've got to give the project a name. The default, the very first time, is Project 1. I'll just call this Project David 1. We also have the location. The default is Documents Studio 2021, Projects, and then the name of the project. You can change this if you want. Here we have to get at least one file to translate. So let's do that. We click on the button here and we go to find where we've put our files. In this case, I'm going to get a file called Porto, a Word file. So we can see here that the Porto file has been loaded. We have other buttons here. We could, for example, add a whole folder of files. Now, we could just click on Finish if we wished here. That's why it says one step. But we haven't finished adding things to our project. So we'll click on Next. Now we go to what's called General. In General, we have these settings. It's useful to choose Add or Allow Source Editing. So if there's a problem with the original text, the source text, we can change it. This is not an Asian project. We could add a customer name if we wanted. We could add a date. But we're just going to do the basic today, and all I want to do is choose Add Source Setting. We're still not finished, so we're going to click on Next and go to the next station on the metro. So we click on Next, and now we go to what's called Translation Resources. Here we can see this, and it's actually, if you can drag this over a little bit, it might help you. We can see here it says translation memory. We need to make or add a translation memory. As this is our first project, we're going to click on Create, but click on the little arrow next to it, and you'll see we just want to create a translation memory. Notice we can also create a server-based translation memory, but we just want one on our computer. So we click on Create Translation Memory. We give it a name. I'm going to call it David TM1. This is the default for where they get placed. These are the languages. Be careful if you change this. Notice there are two browse buttons. This Create From is something we can ignore in the beginning. So just give a name, check the languages, and then click on Next. Then we can add language resources, but we'll just click on Next. Now, we're just going to click on Finish. Just be careful because we've got two finishes here. So the finish here means we have finished with what we want to do with a new translation memory. This finish is finish the project. It's a little bit confusing. After clicking on Finish, we can click on Close. So now we've got a term base. Notice here, we're not going to do it today, but it's possible to actually add a machine translation service. So now we're going to click on Next. We're going to the next thing, which is term bases. For good or bad, this interface in Trados 2021 is based on some new ideas and what came before. So where it says translation resources, it's a little bit ambiguous because a term base is also a translation resource. But really it means translation resources, translation memories, and machine translation. So now we've moved to term base. And here, and by the way, these are very small buttons, but we've got something called Create here, and we click on New File-Based Term Base. So we're going to make a term base for the first time. We click on Next, and we get these options. And the very first one says create a new term-based definition from scratch. Create a new term-based definition from the beginning. So we'll choose that, and we click on Next. We give it a name. I'll call this David 1 ENPT. And then I'll click on Next. I've given it a name. I have to select some languages. So I'll select E for English. And then I click on Add. And I'll click on P for Portuguese. And I'll click on Add. Notice I could choose sub-languages, and then I get different types of English, German, Portuguese, and so on. However, there is a tradition with term bases that we tend not to use sub-languages. So now I've got my languages. I just click on Next. I don't want to do anything here, and I don't want to do anything here. So I just click on Finish. So all we've done with the term base is given it a name and chosen the languages. So again, I've got two finishes. This finish is for the term base. So now I have my term base. I'm going to go on to the next, which is Trados Group Share, which we don't need to deal with when we're just working by ourselves on a desktop. So I'll click on Next. Perfect match, we're not going to be dealing with that. So we click on Next. Batch tasks. Today we're just going to accept the defaults. So again, we just accept the defaults and go to the summary. Now, that is extremely small text. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Sure, if that was a very useful thing to do. I think I'll just cancel that because everything's gone a bit confusing. Let me just try again. Let me see if I can make it bigger like this. Yeah, and my apologies. So this screen used to be in green, but now it no longer is. It just is a summary of the project you've made. The important things are the languages, that you've got one file to translate, you've got a translation memory, and you've got a term base. Now we can click on Finish. And Trados will do what are called the batch tasks, and then it will say everything is finished, and we can click on Close. What happens then is you're taken to the projects view again, and you can see the project that you've just made. If you just click on the project, the files view will open up and you can see the file or files. If you click on the file, it will then open up in the editor and you're ready to start translating this document in Trados. Okay, thank you very much for listening.